Good morning again. It's Glenn here from Real Estate Design for Seniors, and this week we're going to talk about finding a home. Last week we spent a few minutes and just had an overview of what it's like to list your home while this COVID-19 thing is going on, and there are some changes that have to be made, and we're here just to help make you feel a little bit more comfortable with what you're doing. When you're going out to look for a new home, whether it be a condo or whether it be an adult lifestyle community, each and every company that has a property listed has its own set of rules that they are trying to mitigate any possibility of anyone being infected with COVID-19. Our company is the same. We have policies, and because it's the listing company that kind of dictates what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, therefore every company is different. So we see an awful lot of different aspects, and when we're looking for something, then you're going to go to one house and they're going to have one set of requirements, another house is going to have another set of requirements. But overall, I will tell you that the experience that I've had with it so far, every company has really done a pretty good job of trying to mitigate anyone running into any issues of COVID-19 when they're trying to buy a home of one of their listings. So there's a few restrictions that are kind of generalized. First of all, there's usually a restriction on the number of people that go through a home. This is one of those times when it's best to leave the kids at home, and if you're an older adult, senior, then I might suggest that bringing a family member is certainly something that I'm going to advocate for, because I believe very strongly that it's a lot easier to make a decision when there's somebody to make one with. And understanding that many seniors are working on trying to make this transition on their own for the very first time, probably in their lifetime. It's nice to have a son, a daughter that goes along with you, and it's, from my perspective, very important that it be the same one that goes with us all the time, because now they're gaining the information and the knowledge that you're gaining, so that whenever we do make that purchase, that everybody's on the same page and they understand why you're making the decision that you're making, because ultimately it's you that's going to make the decision. I don't make those decisions, and I would suspect that your children are going to be advisors, but not necessarily making the decision for you. So it's usually restricted to two, and I'm sure that if it was a third person, that wouldn't be an issue. And when we're going through the home, there's going to be a few things that we're just going to be very careful with. We just don't touch anything that we don't have to. Again, because we are looking in someone else's home, I usually am the one that I'll make sure that I've sanitized or wear gloves, and to open and shut closet doors, to turn and turn off lights. It's just best if the least amount of people touching is possible. And as I say, I carry gloves with me, I carry sanitizer with me, so that we can do this safely. We restrict the amount of time that we're in the home. Doesn't mean that we overlook anything, doesn't mean that we don't take our time, but there's no point in doing discussions that can be held outside the home while we're in the home. And again, we can always go through the home, take a walk in the backyard, and it seems to be very prevalent by the health people that outside is much safer than inside. As I say, I don't want anybody to feel that I'm putting anybody in danger in this. I don't actually have great concerns, and part of the reason I don't have the great concerns is because so many of these companies have done such a good job of making rules for us going through, so you can feel comfortable that as long as we're cautious, we're good. And that's really what we want to do. One of the things that we have done that's been kind of a practice of mine anyway, for the most part, we travel to and from the property in our own vehicle, because again, it's that thing of how long are you in contact with the other person. So if you're going to and from, and how close, I mean, it's pretty hard in a car today to get more than 6 feet away from somebody that's in your car. And it's just best if we ride on our own, wear a mask when we're going through the properties. As I say, I wear a pair of gloves so that I can open and close doors without touching anything, and then those gloves, as soon as we're finished, they go off and in the garbage. Don't take them from one home to the next. That would not solve the problem at all. When it comes to doing an offer, of course, Again, as we did with the listing, we sometimes, quite often, will use more electronic signatures, etc. That way, as much as it's nice to sit and talk about these things, and I'm always willing to sit down with you or your family and go through the paperwork, making sure you know exactly what you're signing and what you're doing, what you're getting into, because to me that's critical. It's not important, it's critical that you have a good understanding and that you're comfortable and that your family is comfortable with what you're doing. Revisits, again, the same thing. Typically people are not in their home whenever we go in to see a home, and the same thing when we're going through revisits, home inspections. The home inspection companies, again, same thing. They've taken a lot of precautions in order to do their job, but they would probably prefer at this point in time, which is not typical, and again, it's not typical of what I recommend, but that the home inspector goes in, does the home inspection, then we meet with the home inspector and go over the things that he's seen in the home. If there's any critical questions, then we can always take a quick trip back to see any small items that they may come up with. But again, it's just how many people do you have in a home for how long and how close a contact are those people in. And everybody is working very diligently in my industry. I say I'm very proud of my industry for what they're doing, because that's how they're doing it. Again, open houses, typically agents are not running open houses typically. If you do decide and someone is running an open house, I actually recommend you don't do it. I'm happy to take you or your family member through the home, and if it's through your home an extra time, that's okay. That just means I get more time to spend with you folks. So be careful, and we'll help guide you through this COVID-19 buying a home and make you safe as we possibly can. Until next week, have a great day, have a great week, and stay safe. This is Glenn. Thank you for your time.